So my name is Skuvlalama Aslak Niljas Aslak ja Jomna Shaila Niljas Aslak Holmberg, and I am a Sami from the north of Europe. One change that has happened is that we get rain on snow, and that is something that happened just during this COP last week. There was heavy rain which created a layer of ice on top of the areas where reindeer go and get food. So that means that people will have to feed the reindeer, and that is tremendous work effort and also brings a lot of economic pressure for the reindeer herders.
I think that today the government of Cambodia, they use the laws to stop activity. It means that to stop our activists to do anything in Cambodia, like to protect our forests, our lakes. Yes. So for me, I think that they do like that is not correct.
For Indigenous people, there is no written document that needs to be signed for them to say that this is their ancestral domain, because they have been living there for generations. But the government does not recognize it and force Indigenous people to go through a long process, a long bureaucratic process to put in writing that these lands are ancestral domains. But most of the time, many Indigenous people are having a hard time with that kind of bureaucratic process. So many Indigenous people's ancestral domains are not really declared or recognized by the government.
This is 26 years since Ken was murdered along with other 9 Ogonis. And activists in Nigeria, particularly Rivers State, are marking this week as the Heroes Week. The main challenge, the main issue is that the issues, the problems, the concerns that led to the murder of Ken Saro-Wiwa 26 years ago is still very prevalent in the Niger Delta region. And those of us in the environmental rights movement, we are still campaigning against those issues and are still calling on the corporations and the Nigerian government to address the issues arising from the extractive activities. And one of the main issues the activists are raising, these heroes, is that the recently announced pardon for Ken Saro-Wiwa and the other 9 Ogonis shouldn't be a pardon because he did not commit the offense. It should actually be exoneration from those allegations that were leveled against him and used as excuse for his murder.
My community is a community that has been suffering from the oil industry since before I was even born. And that is the reality of many, many indigenous and Amazonian communities in Ecuador and in the other Amazonian countries. But I want to talk about how is this even possible? How is it even possible that we have every year more concessions and how we every year can see more oil platforms being built in the Amazon? It is only possible because there are people financing that. And the same people that are perpetuating this violence on our land are the same ones having the negotiations over there in that building at COP. We need to start talking about this. Behind every murder that happens in the Amazon or that happens to every killing that happens to a land defender, there is a company behind that, there is a government behind that, there is a name behind that. US and European banks are every day financing and investing in the Amazon destruction. They're investing in the killing of the Amazon and in the killing of the people. There are people actually responsible for this, and we need to hold them accountable.
You know, I remember when I started in the city in the 1990s. You know, clearly climate finance, investing in green was not mainstream. I do believe it is now mainstream. You know, you've seen the commitments that have been made by financial services firms. You've seen through the Race to Zero campaign, the UN campaign, which commits non-state actors, corporates as well, to go to net zero by 2050 on science-based targets. That has had a big pickup as well.
The economy really is the elephant in the room of the climate and nature crises discussions, and we can't afford to ignore it any longer. We have an economy that prioritizes economic growth above health, consumption over care, and hedge fund profits over both hedges and indeed hedgehogs. The economy is linked to almost every environmental campaign I can think of. You know, whether that's talking about plastic pollution or overfishing or deforestation or indeed climate breakdown. When you look at the causes of those problems, it is a dysfunctional economic system that is driving them. So every single warning light is flashing red on the dashboard, and I think we need to ask ourselves why we are still hurtling towards environmental breakdown. And I would argue that it is because of our economic system. We are essentially living with a system that is simply not designed to deliver good lives for all within the limits of a fragile and finite planet. This growth system that we have is designed for profit. It depends on the exploitation of people and nature alike. And in a sense, I think that the climate and nature crises are an intrinsic feature rather than an accidental fault of economics as usual. And that means we need to put the design of the economy, a redesign of the economy, absolutely as the key priority.
This is the poem. It's called On Another Panel About Climate. They asked me to sell the future, but all I've got is a love poem. What if the future is so soft and revolution is so kind that there is no end to us in sight? Whole cities breathe and bad luck is bested by a promise to the leaves. To withstand your own end is difficult. The future frolics about promise to no one, as is her right. Rage against injustice makes the voice grow harsher, yet. If the future leaves without us, the silence that will follow will be an unspeakable nothing. What if we convince her to stay? How rare and beautiful it is that we exist. What if we stun existence one more time? When I wake up, get out of bed, my 7-year-old cousin with a ruptured belly tags along. Then follows my grandmother, aunts, my other cousins, and the violent shape of their drinking water. The earth remembers everything. Our bodies are the color of the earth, and we are nobodies. Then born from so many apocalypses, what's one more? Love is still the only revenge. It grows each time the earth is set on fire. but for what it's worth, I'd do this again. Gamble on humanity 100 times over. Commit to life, onto life, as the trees fall and take us with them. I'd follow love into extinction. Thank you, everybody.